This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is smoke and fire. This is high stakes and wild cards. This is family and tradition. This is everything on the line. This is it. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas. The South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now. LVMS.com.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
Ready to bet smarter? Get sports betting tips straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I like the Commanders at 3.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
The Wise guys were all over Florida last week, and they're against Florida this week. That's not a common pattern.
I think these teams could score a lot. I would look at the over.
I'm very high on Tampa Bay. I think they can go there and they can win this game.
Subscribe for free to Sports by the Book on YouTube. Your winning edge starts now.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Welcome in. Good morning. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Alex, good morning.
Good morning. We've got some playoff baseball approaching here. One game in 30 minutes?
Not even.
Not even.
8 minutes from now. Get going in Cleveland. 4 games. We'll get that in a moment. You got a WNBA game 5 as well that we'll break down a little bit later in the show. Of course, totally Tuesday, so we'll get all the updated numbers in the National Football League coming your way for week number 5 already in the NFL. Crazy. Of course, our power rankings of college football come your way as well, and we'll also update the Heisman Trophy odds as we have been doing on these Tuesdays. So looking forward to all that. All right, let's get to it. First off, the odds to win it all. Here at the South Point, the Dodgers, still your betting favorites, plus 375. Brew Crew, 4-1. Seattle Mariners, plus 450. Phillies, plus 550. Yankees at 6-1. Toronto, the 1 seed in the AL, at plus 750. The Padres at 8-1. Cubbies at 15-1. Detroit at 20-1. Guardians at 25, along with the Boston Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds at 30-1, Alex.
Man, the more I looked at these games and these series last night, I really am terrified of these Yankees. I think they can make a deep run here, but is Toronto being a little disrespected? I mean, they've been good all year, and did you just say that they're 7th down the board there? Plus 750?
Dodgers, Brewers, they're 6th. 6th down the board at plus 750. Yeah, you know, they have home field. No one seems to be confident on if they get by, well, whoever gets by in New York. They're probably going to be an underdog, even though they played the Yankees great this year. Be a small favorite over Boston, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays. By the way, World Series exact results are available here at the South Point. You actually probably have about 5 minutes to bet that. So if you have an app, get on the app right now to bet that. Those are out and available at least until that Tigers-Guardians game gets going in a few minutes from now. All right, let's get to that Guardians game against Cleveland. And there you go. There are the odds yet again. All those off the boards. They down to 12 here in Major League Baseball. Let's start in Cleveland, though, Alex. We saw this pitching matchup last week, and Williams got the better of Skubal. That was the ridiculous game where the Guardians didn't get the ball out of the infield and scored 3 runs against the Tigers. Minus 165 on Skubal, plus one bets, which, by the way, is the best price in the market on Tarik Skubal. Plus 150 on Gavin Williams and the guards, which is actually as good of a price as there is in the market. There's only one plus 152. So the South Point actually has here today on this game the best side numbers for both sides. Again, 2 cents difference. Yeah, for sharp better, but for smaller better. You're only betting $10. It's not much of a difference. A plus 150 to plus 152. It's only 40 cents. But here you go. Alex, this is a 6. We finally did it. We got a 6 in the total. By the way, Guardians small dog in the series at even. Tigers minus 120. Look, they've beaten Skubal twice in the last 2 weeks. It should be damn near impossible to beat Skubal 3 times in 2.5 weeks. But this Cleveland Guardians team has defied logic in this last month. I still don't think they're any good. They're here. They're the only one in the playoffs with a negative run differential, Alex. Plus 150 is a juicy price on Gavin Williams. I do like this game over the 6 as well. I think that's just too low. I understand why it's 6. I understand how good Skubal's going to win the Cy Young again. Gavin Williams has been virtually unhittable the last 6 weeks, but 6 is too low for me, Alex. So I like it over and a lean to the Guardians here.
I will tell you, it's rare that I get to talk to my dad before this show because it is pretty early. We usually catch up later on in the day, but did talk to him earlier today, and he likes the over as well. He said it's his 3rd time both of these lineups are seeing these pitchers, and 6 is just too low there. I'm not going to touch the total, and I can't fault you. That total should tell you how good Gavin Williams is on the other side. To be a 6 here against Tarik Skubal, so it's going to be a tough one. I actually tied together over strikeouts for Tarik Skubal at 7.5 with the Tigers winning this game, close to 2-1 to tie those two together. But if the Guards beat them again, so be it. Like you said, they're kind of on this magic run, but they are the 2nd worst OPS in the league. Only better than the Pirates coming into the playoffs here. Tigers got to have the mentality that it's a new season and just flip that switch here and go out and win this first game with the best pitcher in the league.
This feels like a more gotta-have-it spot for Detroit than it is for Cleveland. By the way, as Ryan McCormick pointed out to us before the show, and I had forgotten this, but it is the fact. This is year 4 of this new format. 6 teams in the postseason in both leagues, best of 3 to decide who ends up going to the division series. The winner of game 1 is 12-0 in their respective series. We've only had 2 3-gamers as well.
That's right.
And the Mets are involved in both of them, and we know they're not in this postseason. So it's you win game 1, you win the series. Again, 12 series is a very small sample size still. We can't really be making judgments until we get probably another 3 years down the line here, Alex. But through the small sample size, it has been damning. You win game 1, you win your series in these wild card series.
Well, and it kind of makes sense going into game 2, right? You have the win, you're kind of playing loose, and the other team is a win or go home and has not fared well for a lot of those teams that lose that first game. For all of the teams that lose that first game, but especially in game 2. But there was a couple of these other series that I was tempted to even take a shot on that, but I don't know if the price is good enough. If you're trying to take a team will get game 1, but then end up losing the series, I don't know if that, betting wise, the number's good enough.
It's the only one like I'd consider. We'll get to the Dodgers and the Reds last because they're the last ones up tonight. But that's the only one I'd kind of consider of like take the Reds tonight and then just roll it over. Like it makes sense. Lodolo is not even pitching in this series for Cincinnati, which I understand he threw a little bit on Sunday, but come on, like. Been your second best starter.
Right.
Like, you got to throw him. I know Abbott's been awesome, but come on.
Well, I think it's Littell even tomorrow.
Littell's going game 2, yeah.
Which shocks me because I would think it'd be Abbott.
Dodgers, by the way, are up to $3 in that series. We'll get to the full preview in a second. Crazy pricing on that in the best of 3, which anything can happen in any series. All right, going to the other. Well, actually, not the other AL. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're going in order of the games here today. The second game up on the board is the Cubs and the Padres. San Diego with Pivetta, Matt Boyd with the Cubs. Look, again, we just said it. Teams in this format 12-0 if they win game 1 and winning the series. Boyd's a minus 130 favorite. Pivetta's plus 115. The Cubs are the only team we do not know who's throwing game 2 yet. We know who's throwing game 2 for everybody else. Pivetta, as we talked about, has been great most of the year, but has not been quite as good the last month.
Yep.
Matthew Boyd, what a story for the Cubs. I mean, this is a last-minute signing this offseason. Boyd ended up being their best pitcher throughout the entirety of the year. I know some will argue Horton is their current best pitcher, but he's not available in this series due to an injury. I think I'm going to stay out of this. By the way, this is a 7. There's a lot of 6.5 out there now on the total, so we're seeing some numbers we haven't seen all year in the postseason. I'm staying off of this. I'm still going to stay with the Padres that will win this series. If we're going to see a team lose game 1 and then win 2 in a row, San Diego makes a heck of a lot of sense also. Yes. So it's the 2 NL West teams that make the most sense for bucking the trend that we've seen of winning game 1 and then winning the series so far. I'm staying off of here. I'm going to probably have a Padres series ticket in my pocket by the time this game 1 starts, which maybe defies my logic here because I seemingly am leaning Chicago. But if the Padres win game 1, it's hard for me to see them losing this series even without home field. But for the Cubs to have a chance in the series, they got to get it today with Matt Boyd.
This is the toughest series, I think, and I think it's priced at this for a reason. Matthew Boyd, I mean, his numbers at home are so much better, so that definitely helps them in this spot. And like you mentioned, with Pivetta, has kind of slipped up a little bit as of late. Hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs, though, in his last 5 starts, and had a great start against Cincinnati mixed in there. That was at home, so maybe a little bit with the home road split, but it's the bullpen that really throws me off and makes it hard for me to jump on Matthew Boyd and the Cubs, because the Padres, they do have the best ERA of any team bullpen-wise, and I think they're going to be able to come into this game and shut down the Cubbies. So it's a lean to the Padres for me as well, but this is one that I think could definitely go to game 3. And I think it's Dylan Cease tomorrow.
It is.
And, hit or miss, you never know. But yeah, I think we could see a game 3 here. So nothing for me in this one. If anything, I'd go under the 7, and that's not just because of the pitchers. That's because of the wind blowing in. It's supposed to be 10 to 15 miles per hour blowing in, which is going to help both of these starting pitchers. So under 7 would be the play for me, especially since it's dropping down to 6.5 most places.
I would be cautious on the totals because we saw last week wind was blowing in all week last week, and all 3 of those games at Wrigley in the middle of the week went over. So just be a little bit cautious. San Diego's offense has had its issues this year. But I do, again, no play for me in this game. I do like the Padres to advance out of this series, though. Just don't trust the Cubs pitching post Matt Boyd. All right, next up, we go to the rivalry. New York, Boston, Yankees, Red Sox at Yankee Stadium. And boy, I know this is not the lowest total of the day. This is the best pitching matchup of the day for me. It's the 2 high-end left-handers. By the way, Max Fried ends up leading the major leagues in wins. Yep. Despite being 2 down heading into the month of September. You had that ticket. Job well done. Kind of feel bad for you with your Cy Young ticket on Fried, where he's probably going to finish 3rd in the voting, but if we were a decade ago, he might have won the thing because he led the league in wins, and it was definitely close enough with him and Crochet.
Learning lesson. Skubal. Look for that bet instead. Yeah. Of the Cy Young.
Yeah. Fried ends up with the most. It was quite the comeback too for Fried. Yeah. I think this game is priced wrong. With that said, I think the Red Sox are too big of an underdog here in this game. The bettors have taken this for minus 125, which I thought was a more fair price on the Yankees, up to $1.35. The total is 7. Alex, I go back to what I said yesterday, and I'm going to piggyback on a point that you said too. I like Boston in this series. I think Boston, whoever wins the series, I am going to bet against Toronto to win that series against what we said earlier. Plus 165, I think, is a really good price on Boston, especially when you're even in the big pitching matchup here. And I like the Red Sox against Rodon tomorrow, regardless of what they end up doing. But Alex, plus 120 on Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet has historically owned Aaron Judge. I know that Judge had the homer off of him in the 9th inning earlier this year, but I think there's a really good price on Boston. And one other note, too, that I will bring up here. The Red Sox have the advantage at the end of the game now. because Aroldis Chapman has been so freaking good over the last 2 months.
Gosh.
And for me with the Yankees bullpen, like, yeah, they've been a little bit better since the deadline where they moved Williams out of the ninth inning. It's been Bednar who's been much better, but I have my worries on the back end of that bullpen, even with guys who historically should be good aren't. By the way, the Tigers already have a 1-0 lead, so a good start for your fees here in the postseason right out of the gate. But I like Boston. I like Boston tonight. I like Boston in the series. If you can find a good enough price on Boston wins game 1 and Boston wins the series, I would do it. I like the Red Sox here. I think they're going to pull the upset tonight, and they're going to pull the upset in the series.
Well, I'll tell you right now because I wanted to pull that up because I just can't get there with Boston full series. Giolito probably isn't going to be able to go for them either.
Not even on the roster.
Which has been a huge bump for them with their starting pitchers. I was looking at this one for Boston takes game 1. Yankees win the series plus 450, 2-1. If you like Boston to win game 1 in the series, Jeff, I think you might be better just to roll over. You'll get a good plus price probably for this one and the next one. But yeah, I like them here. I mean, the Yankees are 9-1 coming into this game. They're playing their best baseball. I know what they say. Aaron Judge is bad in the postseason, but this team looks pretty complete here. I can't get there for the full series. I think I'll jump in plus 450. Boston takes game 1. Yankees win the series. Small play there, and maybe I'll take a little bit of the Yankees to win the series, but it's like minus 175.
That is opposite again of what the trends we've talked about with these.
It is.
Series. You win game 1, you're 12-0 so far, plus 165 on the Sox, minus 185 the Yankees. And again, regardless, I'll just say this because these divisional series games will start Saturday, so we'll talk about it a little bit on Friday morning, but we won't be on Saturday because, of course, we're Monday through Friday here on this show. I am going to be on whoever wins the series against Toronto. I'm curious to see what the Yankee pricing ends up being. I would not be shocked that the Yankees are, without home field advantage, favored in that series, which would scare me a little bit. But the Red Sox would almost assuredly be an underdog. And even without Crochet in game 1, they'd be able to pitch Crochet in game 2 of that series, which would be big. And that's also kind of a good thing for the Tigers. They'll actually have Skubal for game 2 if they happen to beat the Guardians. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, last one up, Dodgers and Reds. Alex, the Dodgers are Ryan, throw that series price back up there before we throw the game. Dodgers. Sorry, Ryan. The Dodgers are $3 to win a best-of-3 series. Now, are the Dodgers going to win this series? More likely than not, yes. But we're talking about a best-of-3 baseball series. We saw the Rockies win multiple series this year with the worst record since the 1962 Mets in the NL. We saw the White Sox win multiple series a year ago as the worst team in the history of baseball. We've seen the Dodgers lose series to the Pirates this year. Like we saw the Dodgers lose a series to Baltimore a month ago.
I think both to the Angels this year, right?
Yeah, they got swept. Exactly. They went 0-6 against the Angels this year. Exactly. Crazy stuff happens in baseball all the time. And again, I'm not saying the Dodgers are going to lose this series, but this is a best of 3. And look, the Reds shouldn't be here. They really shouldn't. They won 84 games. They backed into the playoffs with a loss in the final day, only getting in because the Mets lost to Miami on the final day. And the Mets having the second worst record in the NL after the All-Star break. But they're here. And they have a damn good pitcher going tonight in Hunter Green. And again, I'm not saying the Dodgers are going to lose this series, but this is an insane price on a best-of-3 baseball series. I will have a small piece of the Reds in my account. It will not be a big piece. It will likely be a third of a unit, Alex, because plus 250, a third of a unit, I almost going to be getting the whole unit back at that rate. This is just too good of a price. This is a principal play for me that no one, regardless of how big of a mismatch it may seem to be, should be this big of an underdog in a best-of-3 baseball series, Alex.
Especially with the pitcher they have going today, right? It's probably Paul Skeens, and then we were following that Cy Young.
Hunter Green.
Paul Skeens, but I mean, he's probably right behind them, right, in the race.
For Green? If he pitched longer, he probably would have been.
Yeah,
but,
you're right.
But since he's come back from the IL, he's been amazing.
And he was right in that race and Zach Wheeler before they both, lost or missed some time there. But yeah, so I think they got a great pitcher going. I think that they've got a shot. I think they're playing free, right? They're playing with house money. Dodgers have all the pressure here at home, so I don't hate it at all. I'm not going to jump in because of my Reds ticket. I might, even if the Dodgers win this first game, try and jump back on the other side. But yeah, I think that's too big for this game one, even though Snell has been fantastic. And I think first 5 under is probably good in this game.
So if you look individual game, by the way, Ryan just sent me this over from OptiStats. Hunter Green's the 3rd player in Major League history to throw 100 or more innings and average at least 10 strikeouts per 9 in each of his first 4 seasons. He joins just Yu Darvish, who, when he came over from Japan and was in Texas originally, was unhittable. And Mark Pryor, man, that one kind of hurts, doesn't it, Ryan? Boy, he's so good until those arm injuries totally blew up his career. Look, Hunter Green is plus 165 tonight, Alex. He's plus 165. He's plus 155 in the first, plus 165 in the first 5 also. Now, the Dodgers did hit him around when they saw him last month. The Dodgers, remember, at the time, we thought the Reds were done after this. The Dodgers destroyed them for 3 games at the end of August. So that is something also to keep in mind. But I like Cincinnati tonight on the price. It's too good of a price to be getting with Green. If you want to just take first 5 and avoid the Cincinnati bullpen, you can. But you also then give up potentially your biggest advantage of this, which is the Dodger bullpen is terrible.
Right.
And the Dodgers are not going to have Clayton Kershaw available for this series because he pitched on Sunday in his final major league start. I'm curious to see what Dave Roberts' usage of Roki Sasaki is out of the bullpen, because Sasaki in the limited bullpen action we saw last week was virtually unhittable. And for me, if I'm Roberts, I understand there's a lot of long-term things with Sasaki, and you got to have him healthy for, the length of his long contract after giving him that insane deal from Japan. You're in the playoffs. You have a chance to go back-to-back. I really do believe, assuming the Dodgers handle their business, the winner of the Dodger-Philly series is winning it all. I really do believe that at this point. And you got a chance here with Sasaki to have a dominant finisher for 2 innings, for maybe you have him, like you win that game, all right, you don't pitch him the next day, but then you can go back to him a day after for 2 innings. Like you have a unique weapon where your bullpen has sucked the whole year and is the only reason you're in this series, as opposed to having home field throughout the National League and the entire Major League Baseball playoffs, Alex.
No, they blew a bunch of leads. They
led the majors in blown saves.
I thought it was. Yeah. I knew it was up there for sure. But yeah, that doesn't. I think Hunter Green has figured some things out since then. He had a couple rough starts on the West Coast. Maybe it had to do with the weather and everything, but in Sacramento, and the Dodgers and the Angels kind of got to him. But since then, and he's coming off a really good start against the Cubs, so feeling good coming into this one. I'm going to take a little bit of that under for the first 5, because I do think both pitchers are going to start lights out and probably won't see some runs till 4th or 5th inning. So I'm going to go under 3.5 here. Yeah, I
can't really blame you on that either. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, baseball playoffs. By the way, through 1 in Cleveland, 1-0 Detroit. So Skubal throws up a 0 after his squad takes advantage of a Cleveland error to get that first run home in Rock City there with Cleveland. All right, Alex, let's shift gears. We always do this on Tuesdays. We update everybody on where all the lines are at here at the South Point for the upcoming week in the National Football League. And we have week 5 in the NFL coming up right now. And Alex, we start on Thursday night. Tough turnaround for Brock Purdy, who clearly is not 100% healthy, as the Niners and the Rams do battle in L.A. Rams, that drama-filled win against the Colts on Sunday to move to 3-1. Niners fell for the first time this year in a loss to Jacksonville. Rams up to 5.5 now here at the South Point with a total of 47. We expect Purdy to play, but even regardless if he does or he doesn't, he ain't going to be 100% in this game on Thursday night.
Cluster injuries for San Francisco once again. I mean, we know we still don't have George Kittle and now Purcell, and they've just been adding up here for the Niners. So tough spot for them. Minnesota, they're staying overseas from Ireland to England. Now they take on the Cleveland Browns. Got to imagine one of the lowest total, if not the lowest total. I believe it is. Yes.
It is by margin. Yeah.
36.5 is the total here. Vikings, 3.5-point favorites. I'm not sure. Do we know who is getting the start? I know JJ McCarthy is making.
So McCarthy is over there with them. I would be, again, I haven't heard either way. I would be floored with a bye week next week if he would play in this game. And, Cleveland's defense is really good.
Yes.
I don't think we can argue that. Like, their defense is really good. If they had better roster construction on offense, especially with how bad Baltimore's looked through the first month, Cincinnati's without Burrow. Boy, that was a train wreck last night, which both of those games were pretty ugly last night. Miami gets their first win and the Broncos eviscerate Cincinnati. Cleveland would have had a shot, but their quarterback room's just not good enough, more so than anything. I know there's been some noise of them benching Flacco. They're not going to do it this week, and I would probably wait if you're going to do that. You play Miami on October 19th. That's a pretty soft landing spot for whichever rookie you potentially want to throw, especially if you're 1-5 at that point. All right, let's go to Carolina. Boy, pretty ugly game here. Panthers and Dolphins. Miami gets their first win last night. They forced 3 Jet turnovers. They took full advantage of it. They do lose Tarik for the season, who dislocated his kneecap and tore a few ligaments in there. So will be done for the year. Miami's won against Carolina, 45 to total. This is a pretty awful game here, Alex.
No, it is. I think maybe the biggest outlier so far this year is Carolina shutting up the Falcons. I think that game makes the least amount of sense of all of them so far. Dallas coming off of that overtime tie against the Packers, going to take on the Jets here in this one. Jets still trying to get their first win. Right now, the Cowboys #1 offense in the league and 32nd defense in the league, and that's why we're seeing a 47.5. And the Cowboys are a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Jets, another debacle last night, losing by 6. It was a window dressing 6. They were outplayed in the game. They outgained Miami. And as you mentioned, Dallas's offense has been spectacular, but not quite as good away from AT&T Stadium as they've been in AT&T Stadium, where they put up 40-plus in both of those home games. Not as good in Philadelphia or Chicago, but the Jet defense has been as bad as anyone. That 47.5 makes a heck of a lot of sense at MetLife. Indianapolis hosting the Raiders. Boy, Raiders win week 1 at New England. We think, all right, we were right.
Yep.
This team is going to turn the corner. That corner has not been turned just yet. 3 straight losses. They go to Indy, who suffered their first loss in tough fashion in L.A. last week. Colts, 6.5. There's a lot of 7 in the market on this one as well, and a total of 48.
I'm interested to see this one. I do think the Raiders played a pretty good game on Sunday and just found a way to lose that one against the Bears. And we'll see with the Colts if they can keep this rolling here, even though they did get 1 loss now. Denver looked much better at home against the brutal Cincinnati Bengals. Up against the Eagles now here. Eagles 4-point favorite at home and the total 44.
By the way, Sean Payton, speaking of this game, just gave a full-throated defense of the tush push. How about that? Where in favor of this is from Nick Cosmeter, who covers the Broncos at The Athletic. I will apologize. Well, I'll just bleep it out. Sean Payton stood up in favor of leaving a tush push in this offseason, said, quote, BS noise kind of went up when the health and safety issue was given as the reason to get rid of it. He said it might be the safest play in football, which is interesting, to say the very least, from Denver. By the way, big test for the Broncos. Broncos have been awesome against terrible teams this year, 0-2 against the 2 good teams they played. So this is another step up in class before the Broncos go to London to take on another bad team in the New York Jets the week after that. All right, let's go to New Orleans. Jackson Dart's second career start. But more importantly, the Saints are favored in this game. This will probably be one of maybe 2 or 3 times New Orleans is favored this year. They're 2-point favorites at home after their best effort of the I know that they play closer games, but it was their best effort of the year. Really making Buffalo play a full 4 quarters last week.
Yeah.
Saints 2 and a total of 41 in this one.
I have not done my numbers, doing that after the show here, but I'm pretty shocked to see the Saints here as a favorite. I know we don't have Malik Neighbors.
Alex, I want to hop in on this next one real quick because I just saw some news here from Brian Wacker, who covers the Baltimore Ravens for the Baltimore Sun. Lamar Jackson is unlikely to play in week 5 and could miss up to 3 weeks. So that is gigantic news. South Point did not have that number up for this game. Before we started this, it was 3. Now, the books that have had this up have swapped favorites. Houston is now favored by 1. Well, Chris will probably put this number up in a little bit, but the Texans are now favored by as many as 2 in this one at Circa, and that is for a Raven team that is 1-3, and we normally don't do this here. That is a monumental issue moving forward for a team that is 1-3. Cooper Rush will start, and boy, what a break for Houston, and what a for the AFC North. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're sitting there by at 3-1. Cincinnati has been the worst team in football the last 2 weeks. The Browns are the Browns, and the Ravens, who had all these expectations, are sitting there at 1-3 with the prospect of being without Lamar for potentially 3 weeks.
Cooper Rush, pretty good backup that they do have. Did not look great when he came in the other night, but it's not just the quarterback position, so make sure that you are keeping a look at the injury report, because Baltimore has a lot of injuries, including on the defensive side that has already been struggling so far this year. Going on to the next one here, Arizona, pretty big favorite at home. That's because it's been brutal for the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward in his first year. Arizona has a little extra time to prepare, coming off of that Thursday night game. Lane 9, total 41.5.
Brian Callahan has now coached 21 games in the National Football League and is 3-18 against the number, which is damn near impossible. And it's even more impossible when he's been an underdog in all but 3 of those games.
And getting about that many points.
And he's getting 9 in this one. This will sound weird. This is a very big game for Arizona because they've lost 2 in a row after the two wins against bottom feeders in New Orleans and Carolina. You got to get yourself right in this game, especially in an NFC West that looks even more competitive than we could have imagined, because Seattle, who we will get to in this next game, looks much better than I think any of us imagined going into the year through the first month. Speaking of Seattle, injuries on the Tampa Bay side probably playing a role here. Yeah. Seahawks are 3.5-point favorites at home, 44.5. This feels like my power rankings will be out tomorrow. We'll have them out tomorrow. I moved Seattle into my top 10 after what they've done the last 3 weeks. This does feel like a lot to be giving Baker more than a field goal on the road in a place that is difficult to play, but not as difficult as it's been in the past, Alex.
I think that is all baked into this number, right? Coming off that loss to the Eagles and then the travel spot all the way here to Seattle. Check the O-line injuries for Tampa Bay as well, not just the weapons there. The Lions have really turned things around since that first loss to the Packers, laying 10.5 on the road against Cincinnati, and the total 49 in this one.
Yeah, Bengals have done some real funny stuff over these last few weeks, Alex, unless if you're a Bengals fan and it's not funny. Cincinnati, after the 28-3 loss last night to Denver, which, by the way, the final score did not dictate how big of a beatdown it truly was. Good thing Zach Taylor kicked that field goal on 4th and 1 at the 6 on the first drive. Bengals last 2 games. Lost by 25+, had under 200 total yards, had under 60 rushing yards, been outrushed by over 100, taken 3+ sacks. No team in the Super Bowl era has done that in back-to-back games. It's real bad without Joe Burrow. There's an argument for Joe Burrow that Joe Burrow should be the MVP of the league, and he played 5.5 quarters this year. That's how bad things have gotten for Cincinnati after that 2-0 start. And also, Jacksonville, how the hell did you lose to this team with Burrow not on the field 2 weeks ago? All right, up next, Alex. The market tells us Jaden Daniels is going to be ready for this game in Los Angeles this weekend because the Chargers are 3 or 2.5. It's 3 here at the South Point with a total of 48. That tells me Jaden Daniels is going to be ready to go in this game, even with the cluster injuries on the offensive line side for the LA Chargers in this one, Alex.
Should be a very, very interesting game. Of course, the Chargers finally get their first loss, and Commanders kind of licking their wounds now coming into LA as well. So this should be one of the top games of the weekend. Next up, we got the Patriots. Huge win for them over the weekend against the Bills, who were pretty fortunate to survive and did not cover, though, right, against the Saints. Lane 8 at home here against the Patriots. Division game, total 49.5.
This is, I will tell you, Alex, I think this number's too short. I think this should be closer to double digits. I guess New England is a touchdown, 8 points better than New Orleans at this point, I guess. But this will be the thing for Buffalo. I think they will pick and choose their spots where they want to show up. Primetime game, at home, divisional opponent. This feels like a spot where Buffalo shows. So I'm already going to say I'm going to probably be on the Bills, even laying the lumber on Sunday night.
I mean, 42-13 against Carolina, and I know it is the Panthers, but
it was impressive. They played that was a complete game.
Yes,
that was a complete game, and credit to New England on that. But Panthers and the Bills, we're on two sides of the coin, to say the very least, on that. All right, very interesting Monday night game, actually. Jacksonville at 3-1, Kansas City 2 straight wins. This is the best number in the market on Kansas City. It's a flat 3 here at the South Point because it's always going to be minus 110 juice on NFL games. There's a lot of 3.5 in the market. There's a lot of 3 juiced on Kansas City. That's an interesting one, Alex. I'm curious to see how this market plays throughout the week. Total 46 on this.
I mean, I got to admit I was wrong about Jacksonville and Liam Cohen so far. That team's playing with a lot of enthusiasm. And Chris has told us, I mean, the Jags defense, he's tracking those statistics, but right now they are the real deal. So if you do like the hook there and you like the dog at home, make sure and shop around.
The Jaguar defense, to their credit, I'm still not entirely convinced they're all that good, but they force turnovers.
Yep.
And that can go a long way. Even with an average ability defense, you force turnovers, you're going to win a bunch of games you're not supposed to. And Jacksonville, look, they won that game because of the turnovers they forced in Santa Clara this past weekend.
Kind of like the Buffalo Bills the last year.
But yeah, well, the Bills had the most epic fumble, are on the most epic fumble luck stretch in the history of the NFL at the current moment also. Legitimately, Bills have not lost a fumble in over a year now.
Correct.
Which is just unfathomable.
Yes.
That could happen. So, all right. By the way, 4 teams on bye this week. Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers. Why do we have buys in week 5? It's too early.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, I understand, like, if you put some more teams on buys, you're going to end up with less games, but come on. It's week 5. Like, teams should not be having buys the first week of October. I'm sorry. Just too early for that. All right. We are going to take a quick break. When we get back, our power rankings. College football, we look at the Heisman race because the Heisman race is out of its mind. Let's be real with ourselves. The Heisman race is completely out of its mind at this point, as we have another new favorite this week, and it's only going to change week to week.
Yep.
Alex and I have different look at power rankings this week in college football as well. We have Chris Andrews' numbers to tell you here in week number 6 in college football. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Ready to bet smarter? Get sports betting tips straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I like the Commanders at 3.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
The wise guys were all over Florida last week, and they're against Florida this week. That's not a common pattern.
I think these teams could score a lot. I would look at the over.
I'm very high on Tampa Bay. I think they can go there and they can win this game.
Subscribe for free to Sports by the Book on YouTube. Your winning edge starts now.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, happy to be with you as always. So we talk about our parlay cards every week, right, Alex? Like we have the ties win, we have the half point card, And we talked a few weeks ago. There was a big winner on a half-point card. There was a big winner on a ties win card. Ryan, we got a big winner again here this week on the half-point card. $10, $7,000 winning. Pretty good day at the office, Alex White. The over in the Packers and the Cowboys, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Rams, 3.5. Pretty lucky, to say the very least. Commanders and Falcons, over 45.5. I think that was a pretty lucky one when it was all said and done.
Agreed.
Eagles and Bucks, yeah, that was good. Ohio State, laying 8.5. Good quality win on that one. The Illini, never really in doubt, even though the Illini almost managed to lose that game. Plus 6.5 was pretty much the right side the whole way. Iowa State, minus 6.5.
Look great.
Fortunate, I would say, box score-wise, even though Iowa State won comfortably. Wake, 14.5, never in doubt.
Nope.
Throughout the week.
Almost
Iowa plus 7.5. Yeah, good win. You were the right side the whole way, even though Indiana, when they go down the field on the first drive after the turnover and
the safety at the end that was intentional.
Well,
really
it's
helped
5-7.
Right?
5-7.
Yeah. Okay.
So you were already there at 7.5. And then I think Cal, who got out of a big hole against Boston College, might have been the most fortunate of all. But hey, they all count in the end. 10 to win, 7 kick. Congratulations to that better for getting that on the half-point card here at the South Point. All right, Alex. College.
That wasn't Sean's, was it?
Well, she hasn't been. Sean hasn't been here the last 2 days, but he is cooking us a brisket tomorrow. So
very excited.
So
yes.
Very excited for that. All right, power rankings time in college football, Alex. We'll do the power rankings first, and then we'll look at the Heisman Trophy. Let's start with Chris Andrews' power rankings, and the theme for this week is that Penn State is now gone from all but one of our rankings out of the top 10. Chris is Oregon at 1, Ohio State at 2. I can't really look. There's no argument at 1 and 2. They're probably separated by most people by maybe a half a point. They won't likely play each other until they play in Indianapolis in the Big Ten title game in December. Oregon and Ohio State, to me, are pretty clearly the two best teams in the country, and Chris agrees with that. Oregon at 1, Ohio State at 2. Bama moves up to 3. You and Chris already had Bama higher than I did anyway. So Bama to 3, Miami at 4. Now, Notre Dame at 5. Look, they eviscerated Arkansas this week, and they eviscerated Purdue to 2 losses by 1 score to 2 top 10 teams in at least our rankings. Chris doesn't have A&M in here, but Notre Dame at number 5. Indiana at 6. Keep moving up the ladder for Kirk Signetti and company. 7 is Ole Miss. 8 is Georgia. 9 is LSU, and Texas Tech rounds out Chris Andrews' top 10. So Texas Tech, that is a unique one for the three of us as well, with Texas Tech in at the top 10, even though I will tell you, I had Texas Tech at number 11, so they were very close for me.
I do not, but Texas Tech is on my radar. They are going to Houston this week, and as of now, I'm liking the dog, taking the points there with Willie Fritz and company, but I'll tell you what, if that does not work out, Texas Tech will have to be upgraded quite a bit in my power ratings. But my top 2 are Oppo of Chris, but then the 3 and 4 are the same. But Ohio State, I mean, I'm very impressed. That was a very good offense, and I think they have the best defense in the country. Julian Sain, 22 of 28, nothing forced. Chris mentioned their O-line, really got their run game going with Bo Jackson. So I have them coming in at number 1. Number 2, as you mentioned, probably a point difference for me. But Oregon, impressive win at Penn State. I did take a small ticket on Dante Moore going before that game, going into Saturday at 12-1 in case they did get that big win. And he was great. 29 of 39, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns. Alabama did bump up to number 3 for me. Ty Simpson, really good game there against Georgia. I think they look like a completely different team from week 1. And sometimes you can learn a lot from those losses, and I think that Alabama has done that, and I think they've got a lot of talent on that team. Number 4 is Miami, Florida, same as Chris. We'll find out a lot from them this weekend, see if they can move up. But so far, 4-0, big wins over Notre Dame, South Florida, and Florida. I think they are deserving to be in this spot. I don't love the 7-3 touchdown interception for Carson Beck, but they can continue to get better, and I think that this is the smallest that they will be a favorite. Pretty easy schedule after this. So Georgia didn't take them down too much. Here they are, number 5 for me. They could have won that game. They lost the turnover battle. I will say Alabama outplayed them in in yards, but Georgia had some explosive plays. Just couldn't get it done there, but still think it's a pretty good team. 3-1 here, Georgia. This is the one that I'm actually have the most question marks about, and that's Texas. And I'll probably be on the dog in Florida against them, if not the under in that game. I think they still have a very good defense. Since that loss to Ohio State, they've given up just 7-10, and then they had a shutout. Haven't really played anyone then. So they're going to have to be tested this week against a good Florida defense. A&M bumps up to 7 for me, 4-0. Some really good wins on their resume. And then that Auburn win. Kicker missed 2 field goals. They still outgained Auburn 414 yards to 177. So A&M. Notre Dame bumps up to 8. You talked about it. Huge win over Arkansas, and it was a 56-13 domination. Their offense looks a lot better. Still question marks on the defensive side, but as of now, they are the 8th best team for me. Ole Miss, number 9, had them at 10 last week, so they do bump up. Survived the Arkansas game, made the quarterback switch, and then since then, they've just looked really good. They're the only team that's 3-0 in SEC play. I think that might help them later on as well, but big win over LSU this past weekend. And then Indiana makes my top 10 here at 5-0. We saw what they did against Illinois. Then they went into Iowa, and they beat Iowa in an Iowa game. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. 337 total yards to 284, but Indiana makes my top 10, and that means Penn State is left out of my top 10, but they are right there still at 12.
Well, one other team that at least I'll mention, because we'll go to my top 10 next. We all removed Oklahoma from our top 10s because the drop-off from John Mateer to Michael Hawkins Jr. is gigantic. At least in my eyes it is. I know it's pretty significant in yours, and Chris had Oklahoma in his top 10 last week, so I have to imagine it's relatively significant for him as well. If Mateer was healthy, Oklahoma would be in, I would imagine, all 3 of our ratings, but they're nowhere to be found because this is a big drop-off. They won't lose this. They'll hammer Kent State this week, but boy, they have Texas next week.
Yeah.
Without Mateer, unless if Arch Manning blows up, I just don't see how they beat Texas with Hawkins. All right, to mine. Ohio State, I still have number 1. I was unbelievably impressed with what they did on Saturday. That is an extraordinarily difficult place to play. Washington's offense had been awesome the whole year. Granted, they played bad teams, but they'd still been awesome. That Washington defense had looked like it turned the corner as well. And Ohio State went up there, and with playing a pretty awful first half, all things considered, ended up winning the game and covering pretty easily.
Yes.
That was really impressive from Ryan Day's team. And Julian Sayin is improving every week. They finally found a running back in Bo Jackson. We know they have the 2 best players in college football in Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. Matt Patricia is working significantly better in college than he did in the NFL. They're a monster again. They're a monster again. They could very easily win back-to-back. Ohio State's at 1. Oregon's at 2. I'm a little bit concerned with Dante Moore on the road because this is now 2 road games where Dante Moore hasn't been particularly great. They were very slow in the beginning against Northwestern. The talent obviously won out in a big way. And I didn't think Oregon's offense was overly impressive on Saturday night against Penn State, who I still buy Penn State's defense a whole lot. Ducks defense significantly better than I thought. I am super intrigued the week after this because it's next Saturday in Eugene. Indiana goes up there. For both teams, I am super intrigued to see how that game plays out because I don't have Indiana in my top 10. I'm the only one of the 3 of us that doesn't. And I want to see how Oregon gets tested by a truly elite offense because they have not been tested by a truly elite offense yet because we cannot call the Nittany Lions that at the current moment. Miami at number 3. We're going to learn everything about the Canes this weekend. On the road, gigantic rivalry game to begin with. Florida State is coming off look, Virginia's offense is good, but that's still a game you can't lose if you're Florida State, and they did. How does the Noles respond? How does Miami handle it where you got a Nole team coming off a loss in a game they were clearly looking ahead to? I'm curious to see how Miami handles this. Ruben Bain, by the way, is the best defensive player in the country this year. I know I just said Downs is the best defensive player, but so far this year, Bain has been the best defensive player in the year. If a defensive player is going to win the Heisman, it would be only him so far. And Beck obviously has been awesome. I think you guys are too slow to move Ole Miss. I think this is real. And not only that for Lane Kiffin's squad, now that he's playing the right quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss, their schedule by SEC standards is super soft because they only play, to me, 2 more teams that are even remotely close to playoff caliber. They play at Georgia and at Oklahoma. If Ole Miss loses those 2 games and wins out, they're going to the playoff, Alex. And I don't think they're losing both of those games. I think they're splitting those 2 road games. I don't know which one they'll win, which one they'll lose, but I think they're splitting those 2. And this team is going to be potentially an SEC championship-bound team. Their defense is vastly improved. Chambliss, very much alive in the Heisman race, even though he didn't even start the season as the quarterback. They're number 4 for me. Number 5, I didn't move Georgia. 5 through 8, because I think there is a little bit of a gap with LSU at this point. 5 through 8, throw them up in the hat. I can't really argue in any order. That was a coin flip game in the end with Georgia. They just can't beat Alabama for whatever reason. So I have Georgia 5, A&M 6. Bama moves all the way back up to number 7. Sorry, Ty Simpson, you've been awesome the last 3 weeks. Texas at 8. LSU, I had a really hard time with 9 through 13 this week, Alex, because I moved Oklahoma down to 14 because of the Mateer injury. But I had a really hard time with 9 through 13 this week, which is LSU. Here's the order I have. LSU, Penn State, Texas Tech, Missouri, and Indiana. I have a really hard time with those teams because I think they're all even. I think you can make an argument for all of them being 9 or 10. I still don't buy Indiana completely. Maybe I'm just slow to the punch on that, but I just don't buy their defense still. I need to see that. Like, I don't think Illinois is an elite offense by any stretch. And yeah, I understand they put up mid-30s and won against USC, but that was a pretty brutal spot where they had to go to Indiana. And Cignetti is going to run it up whenever he gets an opportunity here too. That's why that Oregon game in 2 weeks is so important for everybody involved in that game. If Indiana goes there and slows Dante Moore down, and even if they lose, let's say they lose like 24-17, 24-20, something in that pocket, that will show me more about Indiana than losing in a shootout. Because I already know Mendoza's good. I already know that offense is good. I need to see if that defense can play against the elite of the elite. They're the other one. Missouri, I think, is perennially underrated to begin with. They get Alabama in 2 weeks. We'll really learn about them then. And then Texas Tech was 11 for me. But there you go. There are power rankings here in college football. Really, I think the biggest team we disagree on is Penn State. For all of us, Penn State and Indiana are the 2 teams that you, me, and Chris disagree on the most. And LSU was not in yours this week in the top 10.
LSU dropped out.
And also Notre Dame, I didn't have my top 10. I can't quite get there yet because the 2 teams they whipped up on, Purdue's a bottom feeder in the Big Ten, and Arkansas is the worst team in the SEC. And, of course, they fired Sam Pittman. So I showed a few more weeks with Notre Dame, they might reappear in my top 10.
Yeah, I mean, 2 losses, combined 4 points to 2 teams.
That are really good?
Yeah. So we'll see, though. They don't have a whole lot. I mean, now they might not even get another ranked opponent if USC isn't.
Yeah, they're Notre Dame. So like Chris said, they could still get in at 10-2 if they win out.
It's plus money for them for the yes to make the playoffs right now. So if you think that they are going to, and that's actually, we'll have to talk about it throughout the week, but they're going to try and get style points now moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Marcus Freeman, I would, and I have the offense that's capable of doing it too.
Right.
CJ Carr has been awesome. We'll get to the Heisman.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the Heisman odds right now. Actually, CJ Carr's 28-1 to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy, but we've been trying to figure out where, as we go down the board. Like we told you, Diego Pavia 2 weeks ago. You and I have a small piece. You bet it as well.
That was my second one. I finally did.
I still don't think he can win it unless if Vanderbilt goes 9-3, which is going to be, even though they're 5-0, going to be very hard with how difficult their schedule is the rest of the way. But there are guys down the board. Like last week, Fernando Mendoza was was one of the betting favorites. He moves back down the board, even victory to 14-1.
Right.
Like Dante Moore's the flavor of the week this week. Ty Simpson's the flavor of the week. Jeremiah Smith, who, guys, I don't think I'll go back to what Brett McMurphy said to us in the Bet Bash college football seminar that he and I did, and you were in attendance for, Alex. I think it's going to be damn near impossible for a non-quarterback to win the award this year after Travis Hunter won it. I agree with him. 100%. That's what he said. And as great as Jeremiah Smith is, I don't think he's winning the Heisman. I'm confused on why he's the third favorite right now. I think that's a product of the fact, Alex, that no one, especially the people setting this market, seem to have a grasp of which quarterback is the front runner. And that is what makes this race so absurd and ridiculous for at least until we hit the month of November. This thing's going to change another 35 times over the next month.
No, it definitely is. Geez, even seeing Joey Aguilar down that far. I mean, he's been moving all around. So it's fun. But no, I agree with you. Because, I mean, Ohio State's schedule, they're getting into conference play now. It's not going to get easier. And he's not putting up crazy numbers right now. Jeremiah Smith, that is. So it's tough to even make that argument.
Yeah, I'm with you, Alex. I'm with you 100%. I'm not saying I think he has no chance of winning the Heisman either. I just think that he might just get penalized because the team's so good.
Yeah. Just thinking we might need to find what Ole Miss is to win the SEC championship game.
So can I actually piggyback on that point real quick? I'm going to look up the odds right now.
Yes.
Bill Connolly, who Bill's one of the smartest guys in college football, SP Plus, in charge of that, has been the one who's created it. SEC title odds. And the market is not going to line up with this. I can guarantee you that. So right now at DraftKings, the favorite to win the SEC championship is Alabama at plus 260. Texas is the second favorite at plus 380. Ole Miss is 6-1. Georgia's plus 650. Texas A&M 8-1. Oklahoma 11-1. Missouri 18-1. That's going to make sense in a second here. Why I even mention Missouri. SP Plus's odds to win the SEC championship right now. And I agree with the first team. The Ole Miss Rebels are the favorite. And they should be because of what I just outlined. They have the easiest schedule by margin left in the SEC because they only play two high-end teams the rest of the way. They're both on the road, sure, but you split those, you go 7-1 in the conference, you're going to Atlanta this year. Correct. Without a doubt.
Correct.
You know who the second favorite by SP Plus is? The Missouri Tigers. Missouri Tigers are second.
They also have a pretty easy...
Missouri...
They have a lot of home games, right? Coming up?
Well, Alabama's home game, the game against Alabama will be their sixth consecutive home game. And then they have then it evens out. Okay. Then the last 6 games, it's 4 on the road, 2 at home.
Okay.
But we talked about it going into the year. Missouri's got to be 5-0 going into that Alabama game, and they are. Oklahoma and Alabama are the next two at 11.1 for 3 and 4. And guess who's 5th? The Vanderbilt Commodores are 5th. So, Georgia, by the way, Georgia is tied with LSU for 9th.
Wow.
To win the SEC championship game.
And we talked about them having an easy schedule.
Talked about that. We talked about them having the advantage of having all the tough games at home this year. But because they lost the first one, you're running all these games together now. It's progressively more challenging to get to the SEC championship game when you lose the first one of the big home games. By the way, the odds have changed to win a national championship for the prop here. Even money now on the SEC after being odds on last week. Plus 120 on the Big Ten, 9-1 on the ACC, 18-1 on Notre Dame plus the G5, and then the Big 12 is 20-1. I agree with that move, even though I think the SEC clearly has the most absurd depth I've ever seen. They're all going to beat the hell out of each other. And the teams in the Big Ten are better. Oregon and Ohio State are better. So I agree with this move that the SEC is no longer odds on here in this prop, Alex.
No, I do too, especially, we went over it with Oregon and Ohio State, what we saw from both those teams this weekend. So, yeah, but you're right about the depth, and that's why getting you see that plus price with SEC as well.
Yeah, 100%. Ohio State's your betting favorite to win it all here at the South Point. Oregon's 5-1. Texas, Alabama are next. Have to imagine that's a lot of liability from Chris. We'll ask Chris about that on Friday. If that's just a bunch of stacked up liability on the Horns at 7-1, Bama at 7-1, Georgia and Penn State at 8-1, Miami at 12-1, Oklahoma at 18, and then Texas A&M and Notre Dame round out these sub-20s. I'm going to tell you, Alex, I know you could add a better price and people will, I could add, you missed it. There is no better bet on the board right now than the Ole Miss Rebels at 25-1. There is no better bet because unless if they really do some things they should not do, they are making the college football playoff. And more likely than not, and especially if they split the Georgia and Oklahoma games, especially if they go 1-1 in those two games. And even if they lose in Atlanta and go 11-2, Ole Miss is either going to have a home game to get to the quarters, or they're going to have a bye to the quarters. And you ain't getting a price on anyone at 25, like that sort of price on anyone to win the national championship with a bye, unless it was a circumstance that we no longer will see, where it's just straight seeding now. Conference champions aren't guaranteed that bye. So there's no Boise States. There's no Big 12 champion. There's no, Miami would have been likely be, if they win the ACC, will likely be worthy of a bye this year regardless. But there will be no nonsense teams getting byes this year, unlike last year where we had two teams that had no chance of winning the title getting byes.
Still want to see a little bit more from their defense as well, but I guess we got a few games coming up that we will. I don't mind the Ole Miss or the Indiana at 40-1 since they got a little taste last year, and if they can make it there again. But Ole Miss 3-0 in SEC play. I mean, they've already got to step up. So, I mean, a lot of 1-1 teams already in the SEC. How many 2-0s even?
So they're 3-0, and then Missouri, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Alabama, and A&M are 1-0.
1-0, yeah.
They're in, Texas hasn't played a conference game, by the way, just throwing that out there as well. But Ole Miss is in great shape. I really thought the winner of that game was going to be in really good shape. LSU's schedule is much more difficult, but the fact that Ole Miss won that game, they are in phenomenal shape.
Well, and it was a bigger win than what that final score even indicates.
They were clearly the better team.
Yeah,
they were clearly the better team. You win. That's kind of NFL style with what Chris said. Like, who cares if we win by an SEC game by 25 or 5? Like, they covered also.
Yeah.
So, but that was, they're really good. They are really good. I still have my questions about Lane, as I always will, but he's got the right quarterback in there finally. And as long as Trinidad Chambliss stays healthy, they're alive. They're alive to win the national championship. They very well may not, obviously, but boy, that is a really damn good number at 25-1 on Ole Miss for a team that has it set up to get into the college football playoff. As good of a position as anyone in the SEC at the current moment, heading into the month of October. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Alex's whiteboard, poll, City Lights Shine trivia. When we get back, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Join Jeff Parles and Alex White.
One of my favorite plays here is getting 2 touchdowns with Florida State.
Even though the total's been batted down a little bit, I still think it's okay to go under.
Chris Andrews and Vinny Magliulo.
I don't think this is a great Kansas City team that the Chargers win this game.
All right.
If you see a hook here, it's not going to last long.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorite.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
Are we sure either of these quarterbacks are good?
Hell no, we're not sure.
Bet your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming live on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is smoke and fire. This is high stakes and wild cards. This is family and tradition. This is everything on the line. This is it. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas. The South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now. LVMS.com.
Ready to bet smarter? Get sports betting tips straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I like the Commanders at 3.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
The wise guys were all over Florida last week, and they're against Florida this week. That's not a common pattern.
I think these teams could score a lot. I would look at the over.
I'm very high on Tampa Bay. I think they can go there and they can win this game.
Subscribe for free to Sports by the Book on YouTube. Your winning edge starts now.
Welcome back in. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. All right, we'll get ticker trivia brought to you by City Lights Shine first. Vince went into his bag for this one here today. On this date in 1939, the first ever college football game to be televised was aired on an NBC. It was aired on NBC New York to an audience of approximately 1,000 viewers. Which two teams competed in the game and who won? The football powers of the Fordham Rams and the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets. Fordham won 34-7. The game was contested on Randall's Island. That actually might be the most ridiculous part of the whole thing, Vince, that the game was on Randall's Island more so than anything. Fordham, by the way, still is in FCS. The vaunted power of Waynesburg is now in Division III. So there you go. First ever televised college football game. Fordham and Waynesburg. That Fordham won 34-7.
The Yellow Jackets nickname is very
Jackets.
Impressive as well.
Yeah. Randall's Island. That's amazing, Vince. That is on Randall's Island of all places. If you're from the tri-state, you'll enjoy that. All right. Which underdog starter will get their team the win in game 1 was the poll. Nick Pivetta was the winner at 44%. Hunter Green came in at second at 30%. Not a lot of love for Garrett Crochet, which is surprising. And the audience had some extra info on Gavin Williams because we were already down 1-0 by the time the poll was ready to go. So
that's true.
So a little bit of an advantage for people not voting on the Guardians for that one. But yeah, I would vote Garrett Crochet. As I said, I like the Red Sox today, but if we're going off straight pricing, Hunter Green's price is the most ridiculous of all of them here tonight, Alex.
Max Fried joins 2 pitchers to win 6 or 7 in a row going into the playoffs, and it's Verlander and it's Kershaw. So on the other side, I guess that's what they're probably looking at too. Crochet's got a very tough opponent on the other side.
Absolutely. All right, Alex, whiteboard?
I've got 2 playoff bets. They're both unders.
By the way, can I just say real quick before you reveal? That was nonsense. You didn't win the teaser last night. That's nonsense. You get 28 points from Denver. You're supposed to win that.
And my dad, Kenny White, you can follow him on X or wherever and on Kenny White Sports YouTube, but he gave out Broncos team total over 27, and that's why he's been doing this a lot longer than me. That's the way I should have went for sure. So maybe look ahead. We're going against Bengals and going team total over for the opposite team. Today, though, thank you, Jeff, for that. Anyways, going with 2 unders, which scares me because we're not getting a lot of runs in this first game, but I am going full game under with the Cubbies and the Padres. Matthew Boyd, Pivetta, trust both pitchers, wind blowing in. I'm going under that 7. Make sure and shop around. I'm going under first 5 for the Dodgers and the Reds. I do think Hunter Green can pitch good, and Blake Snell's been fantastic. Under 3.5 first 5. We might get some runs later, hopefully from Cincinnati side against the Dodgers bullpen. Pizza money here. I know I'm going against the grain because we haven't seen it done yet, but I'm going with and that's supposed to be a G. Red Sox win game 1. Yankees win the series plus 450. Pizza money. Just have a little fun on that series. I do think the Yankees get it done, but I'd like to see Boston win this first one. And it's Garrett Crochet. I'm with you. I think that they can get this first game for sure.
By the way, the Guardians are starting their nonsense again.
Uh-oh.
They have 2 on and nobody out for Jose Ramirez in the bottom of the 4th inning. So right guy coming up at the right time oh, that's not Ramirez. Excuse me. Jose just walked, I should say. So that is Rodriguez now at the dish, Jonathan Rodriguez. Guardians so far, it's 1-0 Detroit. Skubal has only allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, but an opportunity for the Guardians. Pitch that was a foot high was just called a strike. Very good. All right, let's get that ABS in the postseason. Why not? I know it won't happen, but yeah. So there you go. All right, we're back tomorrow. Bruce Marshall's here. We'll get his plays for the week. Our NFL power ratings will check in with the MVP market. Now to Lamar Jackson. If you missed it earlier in the show, Lamar Jackson's not going to play this week. Brian Wacker of the Baltimore Sun reporting that. He's not going to play this week, and it's very likely he misses up to 3 weeks. We'll see how the MVP market moves in the NFL now with Lamar likely on the shelf for multiple weeks. See how even bigger of a favorite Josh Allen becomes to win his 2nd consecutive MVP. Shout out to the crew, Vince, Drew Dog, Ryan, here today on site. Thank you all as always. Alex, good job as always. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow as well. Looking forward to seeing Bruce Marshall on set. This has been Sports by the Book, live as always from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Make sure you're following us on all social media and YouTube as well. It's streaming live every single day, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, and also our Football Frenzy back on Friday again. Alex was here last week with Chris and Vinny. I'll be back on that show for another week of the NFL at noon on Friday. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.